Here's Jordan Joe Hollabaugh.
3.1. She's in the money.
She was about as fast as she could have been on that
one. 2.9 seconds. And now she is number one.
You are officially in the loop.
Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us today on our special segment that we have here on In the Loop called 15 Days of Breakaway. We are talking to the top 15 ropers of the 2025 National Finals of Breakaway qualifiers. It's something we do every year. This is our 5th consecutive year. So thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to talk to number 14, Miss Bradi Good, who's coming in with her 2nd National Finals qualification. And the thing that I love about Bradi is she's tenacious, right? She was a rookie in 2023. She didn't make it in 2024, but she comes back strong, clinches her 2nd back number for 2025. But Bradi goes in and talks that this year was a little bit of a struggle. Bradi was in the top 5 throughout all of the year up until July. She talks about her good horse Rango going down, stepping up and riding her young horse Roofy through the last end of the year, coming back and getting Rango, finishing up, clinching that 2nd back number. It is a true out testimony to what breakaway roping is, riding the highs and the lows, and doing the best you can to clinch that 2nd National Finals breakaway roping back number. So this is a great interview. Thank you for joining us. Take a listen to Miss Bradi Good. Hello and welcome back to everybody watching our special edition 15 Days of Breakaway here on In the Loop podcast. We're all very excited and obviously motivated. It's that time of the year when we're all gearing up for the National Finals Rodeo. Everybody's kind of started prepping. We're pre-recording this, so it's the beginning in November, but all these girls are starting to get ready. So today I am very excited to bring forth a 2-time National Finals Breakaway roping qualifier coming in at number 14. Miss Bradi Good, you're coming in with $100,528, and you have been to 79 rodeos to clinch your 2nd National Finals breakaway roping back number. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. Towards the end of the season, it was kind of getting to, where if I was even going to make my 2nd one. So to be able to say that I've made it twice is a huge accomplishment.
And you come in clutch at the end of the season. We'll just say that. We were just talking, and you do all season long. Like, nothing against you. You won $100,000. I mean, kind of a big deal in the breakaway roping world. But you definitely come in clutch in big moments. Walk me through your season, and from the Texas swing all the way down to Sioux Falls, and give us a little glimpse of what that looked like this year on your journey to get your 2nd back number.
Yeah, this year, it actually started off the best year that I've ever had. I had the most money one going into the summer, and that had a lot to do with winning 2nd at Houston. And so I had a lot of momentum going into the summer, and then had a pretty good 4th run, and ended up 3rd at Calgary, so got a good hit there. And that's kind of where I won my most money. And then, after that, my good horse went down and kind of hit a bump in the road. I think from after Cheyenne to right before Puyallup, I think I won like $10,000, maybe not even 10,000. So that was dang sure a struggle for me, trying to rodeo on a young horse and not my good horse. But learned a lot, and then was able to get my good horse back and ready to go by Puyallup. So got him hauled up to Puyallup, and then thankfully did good at Puyallup, and then came home and tried to, get as much money as I could won.
Just there's so much jam-packed in there. We're going to unpack it today. There is such an untold emotional roller coaster that each and every contestant, whether you are a woman athlete or a man athlete, everybody experiences it, whether you talk about it or not. You went through that this year. It was a trial journey to get to the national finals. How did you stay competitive, stay sharp, stay, not navigating the high of the highs and the lows of the lows this year, not having your best horse?
It was hard. To be honest, it was hard. There was a week or two out there where, it was not even my horse's fault. It was my fault. I was mentally in my head, I just couldn't win. And I was doing things that I normally would not do. And I think just, having that in the back of my mind that I'm on a young horse and I'm not on my good horse. I don't have the most confidence on him. And my young horse was doing nothing wrong. It was just mostly me. And, I really had to try to overcome that and, just try to try to win when the opportunities were given to me. And so that was a really hard thing to do this summer. And, looking back, I'm kind of glad that, not glad, but in a way, I'm happy that it happened because now my young horse is so much further along than what he was. And so thankfully I'll have 2 next year to, go at.
And I think too, some of the memorable moments for me, obviously second at Rodeo Houston. Everybody loves Rodeo Houston. It's one of the, most anticipated big rodeos of the year, and everybody wants an accolade from there. You can see my guitar in the back.
Yeah.
I still don't know how to play it, but it's definitely one of those rodeos that everybody loves. So to have the confidence there is huge. But you had so much momentum going through there, and to me, that leads back to Rango, which is your good horse that went down in the middle of the summer. So expand a little bit on the confidence that you have in him and why you have that confidence.
Yeah, Rango, he's such an honest horse. He scores great and he's really fast, so he gets me to the throws and the chances faster than I've ever had on a horse. And he also never takes my throw away, which is really, really important on setups like Houston because the calves are out there and you have to go and catch them. You don't just try to bomb out at the barrier because you're not close enough to your calf. So he's really honest in that aspect, and he never takes my throw away. And so that's why he's that kind of setup horse, like the Cheyennes and Salinas and Houston. That's where he excels. So when I'm on him at those rodeos, it's all up to me. It's nothing that he's gonna do that's gonna take my run away.
And that your style, there's everybody has a different style out there, but like you said, he definitely fits your style of roping. And so, you get through Houston, you go out for the summer. Walk us through what happened to Rango and that timeline of when the injury occurred that maybe we really didn't know about, and then kind of when it came to fruition. Tell us about how that happened.
Yeah, so we were at the Slack at Reno. Everyone runs their first one in the morning. And on my first one, I went to leave, nodded, and went to go. And his whole back end just like came out from under him and he just went down. It almost felt like someone was just pulling me and him down. And honestly, I thought he broke his leg, and so did everybody else. It looks in the video like he broke his leg. But like I kind of just pulled up and I was like kind of looking around like I didn't know what to do, and walked him back there, and he was fine, didn't break his leg or anything. And so I trotted him around, made sure he was good, and had to run my second one. And after that, we went to Greeley, and I wasn't planning on riding him anyways, so I got him looked at the vet there. And they kind of gave him the once over and said, he's just sore. I think he's good. We're going to inject him. Gave him a few days off because we were headed to Calgary after Greeley. And I was planning on riding him there. And so I got him injected, gave him a few days off, and rode him at Calgary. And then we came down, did all the fourth rodeos. And he really never missed a beat. Like, he was sound. I never thought anything was wrong with him. And then my first one at Cheyenne, I think that's kind of where he realized, oh, he's hurt because he had to stretch out. Whereas over the fourth, there wasn't any rodeos that you had to really go out there and catch them and use all those muscles and ligaments. And so after my first one at Cheyenne, I think he kind of felt himself be like, oh, I am hurt. So we went to Salinas after that, and he was just doing stuff that wasn't like him. Like, he wouldn't go in the box at Salinas, which, at Salinas, it's the header and healer box. And for some reason, he just, he was not being himself. And then we went back to Cheyenne, made the quarterfinals at Cheyenne, and went there, and he did something that he never does, and he cut me in two, and he got short. And after that, I was just like, he's trying to tell me something's not right. And so thankfully, my boyfriend Lane was headed home after Cheyenne, and so I sent him with him to get my vet, Randy Lewis, to look at him. And sure enough, he strained his suspender tendons. And so he said to give him a couple months off, probably wouldn't have him back but before the Kimes deal in November. And thankfully, with Randy's efforts at West Texas Equine Clinic, they got him ready to go, and I was able to get him back before Puyallup, which really, really helped me.
Yeah. And that's one thing that, like we're saying, you come in clutch at Puyallup and Sioux Falls. Like, that's Brady Good's time of the year, and you're going to shine no matter what there. I mean, you shined all year long, but you're going to shine there. But in the meantime, you rode your young horse. And so through that time, you brought in Rufy, which is your younger horse. He looks a lot like Rango. And so it's easy to mistake the two, a little bit different styles, a little bit different headgear too. We're going to talk about that
Yeah.
in a little bit. Tell me, how was it hard seasoning a young horse, trying to back in the box and have that same confidence that you have on Rango through July, August, September?
Oh, for sure. I bought Roofy last year before the summer, and he was only 5 then, and really hadn't been to very many rodeos. I bought him from Bailey and Erica Young, and they did a great job with him. Putting a great foundation on him. They took him a few places, just not kind of like what he was ready for, and what I was ready to ride him at. And so, last summer, I took him out there like halfway through the summer and rode him at a couple, like not very big ones, just at a couple, kind of trying to let him learn the ropes. And then this year took him as my backup all summer. And yeah, when Rango went down, I had to kind of throw him to the wolves. And he's such a great-minded horse anyways. I knew he was going to handle it well. Like he never got high, got out of place or anything. Like he did everything that I could have ever asked him. He was just green in the aspect of, running to a calf or the different scores, you just see more and all that stuff, which everyone kind of would expect from a 6-year-old that hadn't been rodeoed on. And so in the back of my mind, I'm kind of thinking like, I have to win because I was just kind of continually dropping down. And I was like, I need to win. I need to get money. And so that was in the back of my mind. I think when you're trying to win and you're not focused on doing what you can on the calf that you have drawn and, just roping your run, that I think, things can get going too fast and you do things that you don't normally do. And that's what happened to me. And was no fault to my horse. He was just a little green. And um he actually he ended up being great, and so it was mostly all my fault, but I think just in the back of my mind, that was there that, "Oh, I'm on a green horse, I need to, make sure that he's good in the box, I need to make sure I ride him across the line. I need to make sure he follows the calf instead of just, focusing on winning."
When you told me that you had, we'll say, probably 75, $80,000 won at the end of July, and when we hear you say you only won 10,000, some people might think, well, that's quite a bit of money. But for us as professional rodeo cowgirls, we know that if you're not winning a minimum of 5,000 a week, if not more now, because of the
Mhm.
purses that are available for the breakaway roping, and there's been so many committees that have put it in, you're not staying in the hunt. So
Yes.
how did you manage that mentally? We hear a lot of people talk about the mental game and the mindset and so on and so forth. What were some of the things and the tools that you used to get to that second national finals breakaway during that time where you won 10,000 in 2 months?
Yeah, I really relied on my family and friends. I mean, there were a couple of rodeos. I think I went a full week of rodeos where I didn't win a dollar. And like you said, you really can't do that if you're wanting to make the finals. And so, I mean, I had myself some moments, I'm sure like everybody does. And I called home, called my mom and my dad, and they're just like, "You just stay at it." They basically told me like what I just said, "You're on a green horse, you're trying to win. Like, just relax and go rope, go do what you do." My dad always says, like, "I taught you how to do this. Like, you know how to do it. I taught you well. So, like, you know how to do it. Just focus on that. Like, quit worrying about it. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, it's all gonna work out." So that's kind of what, they told me to do. And so after that, kind of check myself and, try to do good. But it was definitely hard.
It was hard. And then, but there's a Cinderella light at the end of the tunnel. Here comes Rango back in. You send him up to Puyallup. Finish us through the rest of your season.
Yeah, that was thankfully, Dylan Hancock's parents were driving up to bring him his good horse. So caught a ride for Rango up there and ran a few practice calves at Jake Pratt's in Ellensburg and went to Puyallup. And it was like getting back on like your old faithful. It was like riding a bike. Like he just is easy. So it came at a great time because it was one of those moments like I had to win and I wanted to be on my best horse, the horse that was gonna give me, like, the most confidence and stuff, and so I was very thankful that I got to ride him at Puyallup.
Puyallup and then led into getting that second back number. Let's expand a little bit on you're a rookie in 23. you just barely missed the finals in 24, come back in 25. Was that a challenge not making the NFR? I mean, because same kind of scenario, you capitalized at Sioux Falls last year. You were right there the whole entire time. There had to be like a perfect storm of things to happen for you not to get in, and those things happen, which I was also in that perfect storm, and I wasn't at Sioux Falls. So I was sitting there with
Yeah.
my hands under my butt too, thinking, oh gosh, please. But it's sometimes there's things that are out of your control, pro rodeoing, and where you qualify and where you don't. So expand a little bit on that.
Yeah, I think, last year for me, my summer, there were times I didn't capitalize on making good runs on like good calves that I had drawn. And so that all led up to the last rodeo of the season, Sioux Falls. And I think it's so hard to, when you have one rodeo left and you have to win to make the NFR, that's so much pressure, and a lot of people can handle it, and a lot of people get it done. And I did it the year before. I did good at Sioux Falls and 1 second there, and that got me in. And last year it was just one of those deals. I think I kind of had a mental block, and then ended up making the 8-man round, and then didn't make the 4-man round. So it was just one of those deals that the cards did not fall my way. And in a way it was kinda like a blessing in disguise because it lit a fire under me, and I was like, "You know what? I'm not gonna have that kinda summer anymore. I'm gonna, like, make sure that I'm safe inside the top 15 when with these big rodeos like Mandan and Sioux Falls come into play." And I was on track to do that, and then some, hiccups got thrown my way with my good horse going down. But, that's kinda my plan going forward is, you rodeo all summer long, so why not try and, solidify where you're at before these major rodeos and stuff, so you're not at the end of the year, trying not really to, like, hope somebody does bad, but you're banking on somebody not doing good for you to make the finals, and that's where I was at this year.
Yeah. And I think that's a great strategy and game plan, and something that we hear. And, as I think back, 2023 rookie Brady, I don't know what have that same mentality as 2025 two-time NFR qualifier Brady. Who have you become as an athlete through this process, and how have you changed from your first qualification to this one?
I think, just being more relaxed in situations, especially like major situations, major rodeos where, there's a lot of money on the line. I think I've learned to, just relax. Like you can only make the fastest run on the calf that you have drawn. Like you just stay behind the barrier and go make your run. So that's what I've told myself, all summer long. You just have to do that, and you can't let other outside things, get you riled up or get you to where you're not gonna do what you know how to do.
And we saw you do that over and over. So I'm very excited and proud of you. And it's fun for me as, I feel like I came in and have gotten to reap all the benefits from the very beginning of this until, here we are now, and where we're headed. So I've seen it evolve. So watching you evolve as a breakaway roper has been really neat. Let's visit a little bit about breakaway roping has evolved dramatically and changed and gotten so stinking tough. What do you think attributes to that, and how have you what areas have you seen it change?
I just think, the rodeos are adding more money, and we're getting to rope on bigger stages. I mean, Houston paid 65,000 this year. Calgary invited us, they paid 50,000. Like, it's just there's so much money out there, and most of the rodeos we go to that in the past years haven't been at, like, equal added money are equal added money now. So the money's bigger, and, like, the opportunities are endless, and it's just there's so many breakaway ropers going down the road right now, and it's on I think it's the biggest event that's going in pro rodeo right now. And it's just it's crazy to look out and see all these girls that are coming out to breakaway rope, and I think it's because of the money. And there's so much of it. I mean, you can look at the standings this year, and almost everybody had 100,000. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I think just to evolving, we talk to everybody, obviously the top 15, but that's been the similarity as the money. Last year I was 15th at 80,000. This year 15th took 99,000, almost 100. We're just going to go with 100. And so that's really neat for all the committees that have put that into it, as well as the contestants that are out there winning the money. Speaking of contestants, let's talk a little bit about who's in your rig Tell us a little bit about who you travel with, what it looks like as far as your horses, your bits, your saddles, your ropes. What's in Brady Good's rig?
Well, this last year, Kendall Pearson was in my rig. She traveled with me, and she's like a little mouse. You don't really hear her unless she's sleeping because she snores. But
Mhm.
she's the best. She's one of the nicest humans on this planet, and she's really easy to go with. And so we had my two horses until Rango went home, and then she had her horse Smoke, and then she had a younger horse the last part of it, and so we just, traveled, and then, I ride a beach on Rango, and then, I have a cactus saddle that I bought from Larry D a few years ago that I ride on Roofy. Um, and then my bits, I do ride a hackamore on Roofy, and, I think he likes that more
Expand a
than
little bit more on a hackamore because that's not
Okay.
something that we typically see in breakaway horses,
Yeah.
and it works great on Roofy, and so expand a little bit more why you chose that.
Yeah, so he is Rainer bred, so he wants to be a little strong running to a calf and in the box and stuff. And I sent him to Clay's Journey it was at the end of last year, right before the Gold Buckle here in Abilene, and he decided to ride a Hackmore on him, and he got along well with that, and he told me, he was like, "You need to ride this on him, I think you'd like it on him." So I did, and he just we was like a completely different horse in the box and going to a calf. I think he just didn't like anything in his mouth. So I did ride that on him for a while, and then, I recently transitioned him to a bit because he's kinda grown up enough where he can handle a bit now. But yeah, I rode a Hackmore on him this summer.
What's in your rope can? I know everybody uses something a little bit different, and do you use the same ropes throughout the season?
Yeah, I use a 9.5 Rattler Viper, and that's what I use all year long. They stay the same for me, and they give me the feel that I want. So I really like those ropes.
As a 9.5, do you find any difference between why is that your go-to choice? I know that there's some girls that use a 9.5, a 10.0, a 10.2.
Mhm.
What is the difference and why do you go with that lay and that rope?
I think a 10.0 is just a little bit too heavy for me. I can feel the tip a little bit more, and for me, I don't really like that. I like to sway more towards the 9.5. It's a little bit lighter, but I can still feel the end of my rope. So that's kind of what I like. I know in different ropes and Rattler, like the Striker and stuff, a bunch of people that usually would use 9.5s use 10.0s because just the way they're made and stuff. So if I was to transition to a Striker or something, I would use a 10.0.
Yeah.
But
Well,
for
and
my Vipers, use 9.5.
I think that that's important to talk through because when people are looking at the selection of ropes and for me, I use a 10.0 during the summer, but then I go back to a 10.2 in the Viper in the winter because I feel like they get a little bit more limber and it gets a
Mhm.
little cooler down here in Texas. Although I sound like a sissy. I mean, it is 60, but
Yeah.
in all sincerity, I use the same rope, but little bit different lay. So I just find
Mhm.
that interesting to pick everybody's brain on that. The people that are in your corner are huge throughout the year. We heard you talk about it when your horse goes down, when you're having troubles, your go-to is your mom and your dad, but you've got a big group of people, not just in your quote unquote family, but also your rodeo family. Tell us a little bit more what those people mean to you and how you've built those relationships in rodeo.
Oh, they mean everything. When you're gone for most of the summer, you have to have people out there that are in your corner and in your circle because your family's not always gonna come out there and help you unless you're Josie. But no,
We won't throw her
they're
under
the
the bus.
yeah, they're the best. My friends, I feel like whenever you're down or something, you can always just turn to one of your friends out there. And, my group of friends, they're great and I wouldn't change them for the world. And every time I was in my head this summer, they were just one phone call away. I could call any of them. And they're like, just put your head up. Like, you got this. Like, so it's nice to have, friends that have become family out there that are rodeoing.
And I've seen too from the outside in the group of friends that you guys have, a big group of you are in the top 15 this year. And so expand on how that works. Do you guys have any trouble when it comes to competition? Are you competing against each other? Are you rooting for each other? Are you motivating each other? How does that work when you're all trying to win?
Oh, I just think, we're rooting for each other. I mean, at the end of the day, it's whoever wins and did their best that day is going to win. And it's exciting if you're the one to win it, or it's exciting if one of your friends is the one to win it. Just like at Calgary, Shelby was the one to win the 50,000. And it was just so cool to get to watch her, being from Canada, be the first breakaway roper to win that. And so it's really cool to see your friends and stuff win. I mean, it's just like winning yourself, because like if it turns around and you're the one to win, they're gonna be right there just like you were.
Yeah. I know that your dad, Shay Good, is a huge advocate for you. He's always played a big part. If he could travel with you all year long, I'm not sure if you would want that or not, but he would do it. You know what I mean? And so he is huge and always a big supporter, and we love Shay Good. He has pushed so many breakaway calves that we can't even, I mean, we won't ever be able to thank him for it, but he's a pretty good pusher too if you need him. What does it mean to you to have your dad in your corner? And I know you guys had a loss in your family this year that impacted you guys pretty significantly.
Yeah, my he's the best. He taught me everything I know, and my mom and him are both out there helping me rope every single day, getting ready to go to the finals. And he did come out a couple times to help me drive, and kind of when I was going through some mental stuff on my young horse, he flew out there and he helped me. And so I'm just very thankful to have a support system like that. And yeah, this during Houston, I lost my grandpa, my dad's dad, and he was a major part of rodeo in the family. And he was one of those that came and watched me practice all the time. When he could, he would come and watch me at rodeos. And every time I roped during the summer, he'd always text me. He'd always watch me on the Cowboy Channel and be like, "Oh, good run! Like, how much did you win?" And just all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that was probably one of the hardest things that I had to do this year, or honestly ever in my life, because that happened. It was my set at Houston, and the first round roped. I think I ended up winning second, and my parents had drove down, and um, everything was fine. Like my grandpa, he had cancer, and he'd had it for the past few years, and he was in remission, and then ended up having to go back to the hospital a few weeks before Houston, and everything was going good. I even had to go a couple days before I went to Houston, go set up the Cowboy Channel for him in his hospital so he could watch it. And the last thing he told me was, go have fun, go win Houston. So, went down there, and then my parents came watch me that first night, and after I got done roping, they met me at the back, and they're like, we have to drive home. Like, it's not going good. We think Papa's gonna pass this tonight. So that was really hard, but it goes to show, just like we were talking about friends that have become family. A bunch of my friends were down there, and they were just extraordinary in that scenario, because they helped me, get through it, and just focus on roping and all that stuff. So that was extremely, extremely hard to do and overcome that, and just rope and not think about what was going on. But yeah, I like to say that he was there watching me over Houston, and
Hmm.
so it was really cool to win second there.
Yeah, and what a special memory. And I know that he would have not had you in any other place than roping in Houston, and he wouldn't have had it any other way. He would have
Yeah.
been plumb downright mad at you if you
Oh
wouldn't
yeah.
have done that. And so that's just those special memories, and to know that we're able to step up and compete in the face of adversity and those things, I think, is just a true testament to who you are in and out of the arena. But like you said, then to come back on that family who becomes friends throughout the year is pretty neat. And that's the things that we don't see behind the scenes. And that's why we like to talk about these things on 15 Days of Breakaway, because we see you qualify, and we think, man, life is good. Brady's a breakaway roper, and that's all that goes on. But life happens while you're breakaway roping, and it's just important to navigate those different pieces with the people you love.
For sure.
Speaking of the people you love, we'll dog a little bit more on your daddy because we like to poke fun at him, but he is always one that plays Pro Fantasy Rodeo. Pro Fantasy is huge for the breakaway ropers. It's its own segment every year for the breakaway, and it's a fun little game. You get to pick 5 people on your team. What is Shay's go-to strategy when he's picking Pro Fantasy Rodeo, and does he do more than one team? I mean, it pays $10,000 to win it. It's kind of a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah, he always does more than one, and, his big deal is he likes to look at horsepower. I mean, he knows all these girls that have made the finals. I mean, he's out there a lot, and so he gets to see their horses, and I feel like he likes to think and look at their horses and kinda go and pick a team based off that. So, I really don't know. I'd like to think that he'd put me on his team, but you never know with him.
Depends on well, this year you're coming in and you've got a pretty good salary because,
Yeah,
I heard somebody say, and I love this quote, "They give 15 back numbers away. I only need one of them." And so you got one of them
true.
this year, and that was phenomenal, but you're coming in at a $20,000 rank on the pro fantasy team. So Shay should put you on all of his teams if he was smart, but I mean, I'm not pushing it on him, but you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
surely he will. I mean, gosh.
That will depend on what he gets for Christmas. Okay.
True.
And we're also introducing another big sponsor and part of 15 Days of Breakaway is the Women's Rodeo World Championships, which now they're rebranding and they're evolving because they've been bought by the PBR. And so,
Mhm.
what other better verbiage to call them than Power, Premier Women's Rodeo? And so, they have a fun little fast segment for us, rapid fire questions, because they like to do that. Last year it was Fancy's Burning Questions. This year, it's going to be the Power Rapid Fire. So, are you ready, Brady?
I'm ready.
Okay. Number one, every cowgirl's got a fighter in her. If you had a fighter name, what would it be?
She's just that good. I don't know. Something to do with good. She's that good, or she's that good.
That good.
Yes. That
I
she
like it.
yeah, she's
Way to
that good.
keep the family name in the fighter
Yeah,
element. I mean, that
yeah.
was very strategic there. Okay. Number two, if ESPN called tomorrow and said, Brady, we're going to draft you into any women's sport that you want, which one are you going to pick?
Basketball.
Why?
I played basketball my whole life, in high school and everything, and, I like to say I was pretty decent. I haven't played in a
You're a
minute,
baller?
but I was a baller. I was,
Yeah, well,
so
she's humbly saying she's a
yeah,
baller. Okay. I like that. Basketball player, I can see it.
basketball.
Again, good. We
Good.
could go all
Yeah.
different places with that. Number three, if your rodeo career was turned into a sports movie, who would play you?
Well, I picked basketball for my sport, so I gotta say Caitlin Clark. She can play. She's the
That'd be
best at everything she does, so
it would be a great movie with Caitlin Clark from a baller to a breakaway roper. I mean,
yeah, I
in
mean,
all good fashion.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We've got a campaign going already as it is.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. We appreciate the Premier Women's Rodeo for being a part of In the Loop podcast and 15 Days of Breakaway. It's always a fun little rapid fire segment with them. Don't miss going to the Women's Rodeo World Finals, which is now Premier Women's Rodeo, May 12th through 15th, 2026 in Fort Worth. I know you've always been there, Brady. It's a huge, awesome time for women in rodeo. They pay out over $1 million. It's something in May that every breakaway roper is at for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a huge deal that they do, and to be able to, rope at AT&T during the PBR finals is super cool, and it's something that we all strive to do.
Exactly. And speaking of roping, we're fixing to head to Kimes Ranch $1 Million Breakaway, and you're headed to the National Finals Breakaway roping. So, what is your overall strategy and goal for this year, and how are you preparing and planning for that?
I'm just preparing on roping all my horses, roping on a couple young ones, and getting as many runs in as I can. Um, for the Kimes deal, I have to go through the semifinals, so there's still a hurdle to be able to rope for the awesome money that they put up. But I'm excited to get to rope there, and for Vegas, my strategy is just to go in there and catch all 10 and try to win as much as I can.
Catch all 10, win as much as you can. What are you going to be riding and why?
I'm gonna start out on Rango, see how that goes, and then my young horse Roofy, he's more of my faster setup horse. So if I need to go around or something, need to go get faster, I'm gonna get on him and see if I can try to get a go around out of that.
It's pretty neat to see that confidence that you've gained in Roofy throughout this year, rodeoing on him, where you're not even having a second thought of Rango and or Roofy. You know which game plan to go with which horse. So that's exciting. Brady Good, congratulations on your second National Finals Breakaway Roping qualifier back number, coming in at number 14. Thank you for joining us again on 15 Days of Breakaway.
Thank you for having me.
You are officially in the loop.